వాయిస్ కోసం ఇలా చెప్తే నో ప్రాబ్లం.
సో
అలా మీ దగ్గర
yeah, so we'll start up the program. As you all might have seen by now, this is an interaction session with Ms. Pavithra, Mutyap, and our director is none other than Mr. Rajendra, Kumar, IPS retired. His work as the DGP HOPF. There are many DGP posts in the state, but there is only one HOPF. Is there anyone who knows what a HOPF means? Head of Police Force. So he is worked at the highest level before retirement. So he is the CEO of NTR Memorial Trust and also the director of Excel Civils Academy. I'm actually proud to be working here. I was once there as an aspirant in your seats, but unfortunately, I couldn't crack. But yes, I am privileged to be working alongside a retired bureaucrat and some serving bureaucrats. So I hope you all become one such person as the two people that will be walking in a very short while. So please give me a minute. I request all of you to stand up and please welcome Ms. Pavithra Mutyap, IRS Income Tax. She is now working as the Assistant Director of Investigation Wing, Hyderabad. Please, madam, please. Deputy Commissioner, I'm so sorry. And we want you to give you a taste of being a student once again, and so we have allotted these chairs to you so that you recollect your olden days. And I also extend my heartiest welcome to our director, Mr. Rajendra, IPS retired. Welcome sir and welcome ma'am. So now I would request our team to please play a small AV. An AV which depicts what Excel is, where it all started and what we've been doing for the past 6 years. I request all of you to please have a look at the AV of Excel Civils Academy.
IAS IPS IRS మీ లక్ష్యమైతే ఎక్సెల్ సివిల్స్ అకాడమీలో చేరండి. IAS IPS IRS గా రాణించాలనే యువతకు ఇదో గొప్ప అవకాశం. యువత కళలను సాకారం చేయడానికి హైదరాబాద్ లోని ఎన్టీఆర్ మెమోరియల్ ట్రస్ట్ మేనేజింగ్ ట్రస్టీ శ్రీమతి నారా భువనేశ్వరి గారు 2019 సంవత్సరంలో ఎక్సెల్ సివిల్ సర్వీసెస్ కోచింగ్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ను ప్రారంభించారు. ఈ ఎక్సెల్ సివిల్స్ అకాడమీలో జమ్మూ అండ్ కాశ్మీర్ రాష్ట్రానికి డైరెక్టర్ జనరల్ మరియు ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ జనరల్ ఆఫ్ పోలీస్ గా సేవలందించి అనేక పురస్కారాలు అందుకున్న రిటైర్డ్ IPS అధికారి శ్రీ కె రాజేంద్ర కుమార్ గారి విశిష్ట నాయకత్వంలో అనుభవజ్ఞులైన రిటైర్డ్ బ్యూరోక్రాట్ లో చురుకైన ఉత్సాహవంతమైన యువతకు అతి తక్కువ ఫీజుతో శిక్షణ అందిస్తున్నారు. సత్తా ఉన్న యువతకు కుటుంబ ఆర్థిక స్థోమత అడ్డంకిగా మారకూడదనే ఉద్దేశంతో ప్రతి సంవత్సరం మెరిట్ స్కాలర్షిప్ పరీక్ష నిర్వహిస్తూ అర్హత సాధించిన విద్యార్థులకు ఫీజులో రాయితీ కల్పించి వారి భవిష్యత్తుకు భరోసా ఇస్తోంది ఎక్సెల్ సివిల్స్ అకాడమీ. వాతావరణం అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి. అలాగే అత్యున్నత స్థాయి అడ్వైజరీ బోర్డు సభ్యుల ద్వారా ప్రతి సంవత్సరం మాక్ ఇంటర్వ్యూలు నిర్వహించి విద్యార్థులకు విలువైన సలహాలు సూచనలు అందిస్తూ వారిని ర్యాంకర్లుగా తీర్చిదిద్దుతోంది. ఈ ఎక్సెల్ సివిల్స్ అకాడమీ చరిత్రలో 2019వ సంవత్సరం నుంచి 2026 వరకు మొత్తం 23 మంది సివిల్ సర్వెంట్లుగా ఎంపికయ్యారు. దేశవ్యాప్తంగా 2020లో 28వ ర్యాంక్, 2025లో 56వ ర్యాంకు సాధించడం ఈ అకాడమీ విశిష్టతకు నిదర్శనం. యూపీఎస్సీ సివిల్ సర్వీస్ లో విజయాన్ని లక్ష్యంగా పెట్టుకున్న యువత ఇకపై ఢిల్లీకి వెళ్లాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. హైదరాబాద్ లో ఎన్టీఆర్ మెమోరియల్ ట్రస్ట్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో నిర్వహించబడుతున్న ఎక్సెల్ సివిల్స్ అకాడమీ మీ కలలను సాకారం చేయడానికి సిద్ధంగా ఉంది. ఐఏఎస్ IPS IRS గా రాణించాలనే యువతకు మొదటి ఎంపిక ఎక్సెల్ సివిల్స్ అకాడమీ.
Please give it up for Excel Civils Academy. And I want you, these are the testimonials of our existing students. Please have a look at them.
Lakshman, my graduation 2025 లో మీకు దొరికేది ఏంటంటే మంచి ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్. సో ఇఫ్ యూ ఆర్ ఆప్టింగ్ ఫర్ ఎ వెరీ గుడ్ ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్, పీస్ఫుల్ అండ్ meaningful studies, then you can opt for this. And I strongly recommend one who is very congested rather than being in congested platforms. మీరు ఇక్కడికి రావచ్చు. అండ్ ఇక్కడ ఫ్యాకల్టీ ఈ విషయానికి వస్తే దే ఆర్ వెరీ గుడ్. మాకు నోట్స్ కూడా ప్రొవైడ్ చేయడం జరుగుతుంది. సో ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ పరంగా, ఫ్యాకల్టీ పరంగా మీకు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నా సరే యూ కెన్ జస్ట్ గో టు ద మేనేజ్మెంట్ అండ్ రిజాల్వ్ ద ఇష్యూస్. సో మాకైతే ఇప్పటివరకు బాగా అనిపించింది. అండ్ ఐ హావ్ లెర్న్ సమ్ meaningful things, and I really thank the management for this. Thank you.
Myself Harita, I have completed my post-graduation in medical research from Retd University. I am from Hyderabad. I have started my journey in preparing civil services. After completing my post-graduation, at the month of Jan, I have started preparing for this civils. And there are many institutions in the city of Hyderabad and Delhi. I have selected Excel Civils Academy because teaching facilities were good, and coming to the library was like very peaceful. So I have chosen this institute, and CEO sir was very friendly, and he'll interact with each and every student, and he'll support and motivate every student. So I have chosen this academy, and staff members are also very supportive and motivating each and every student. I feel like it's very good institute. I'm very happy to be a part of Excel Civils Academy. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is A. Vaishnavi. I have completed my graduation, and I am here for civil services coaching. Excel Civils Academy అనేది ఎడిఆర్ ట్రస్ట్ లో ఉంది ఇది. సో ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే అశోక్ నగర్ లో మెనీ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ ఉన్నా కూడా ఇది సపరేట్ గా డిఫరెంట్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ తోటి ఉంటుంది. కేబిఆర్ పార్క్ పక్కన ఉండడం వల్ల వీ కెన్ ఫీల్ వెరీ గుడ్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్. అండ్ ఇక్కడ ఫెసిలిటీస్ వచ్చేసి చాలా బాగున్నాయి. ఫ్యాకల్టీ కూడా చాలా ఫ్రెండ్లీగా అందరితో మూవ్ అవుతుంటారు, పర్సన్ టు పర్సన్ ఇంటరాక్ట్ అవుతూ ఉంటారు. ఏదైనా ఎక్కడైనా మాకు ప్రాబ్లం ఉన్నా కూడా ఏంటి అనేది ఎవ్రీథింగ్ మాకు చెప్తూ ఉంటారు. సిఇఓ సార్ వచ్చేసి మాకు రాజేంద్ర కుమార్ సార్, రిటైర్డ్ డీజీపీ సార్, తను కూడా మాకు మంత్లీ ఆర్ తనకి ఎప్పుడు టైం కుదిరినా కూడా మాతో వచ్చి ఇంటరాక్ట్ అవ్వడానికి ట్రై చేస్తూ ఉంటారు. ఇంకా ఏమైనా కొత్త విషయాలు ఉంటే చెప్పడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంటారు. మేము చాలా నేర్చుకున్నాము ఇక్కడ నుంచి, సార్ దగ్గర నుంచి కూడా పర్సనల్ గా. సో మేము చాలా ఇన్స్పైర్ అయ్యాం సార్ని చూసి. ఇంకా ఎక్కువ మేము ఇలా చేయాలి అని మేము ఎక్కువ ఇంకా ప్రోత్సాహంతో మేము ఇన్స్పైర్ అయ్యాం అనమాట. సో మేము ఏం సజెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నామంటే ఇక్కడ మెటీరియల్స్ కానీ మ్యాగజైన్స్ మంత్లీ మ్యాగజైన్స్ అన్ని ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు. న్యూస్ పేపర్ రీడింగ్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఈస్ వెరీ గుడ్ హియర్. సో we opt here to take coaching in these institutions. Thank you.
So these are all the testimonials of very small number of our students, and some of them are here actually present in this room, so you cannot talk to them. Nobody is stopping you from talking to them. And verify the veracity of the testimonials also. Okay, so I hope you all have toured Ashok Nagar and scouted for coaching institutes. Have you all done that? Chusara vere institutes anni. I am not here to degrade anybody or put on negative things around, but since you all have seen the infrastructure and come here and written the exam, I hope
we are way above the many coaching academies available. And now we'll go into the program. I now invite Ms. Pavithra Mutyap, IRS Income Tax, to please come on to the dais. And along with her, I also invite our directors, Shri K. Rajendra Kumar, IPS retired, to please come on to the dais. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Sir, you can have it. Sir. Happy and elated to have Ms. Pavithra Mutyap here. We have seen her go through this entire journey. Our sir has been her guiding force throughout her journey, and we are elated actually. Not happy, but elated to have her here in the midst of us to give her opinion on how to crack the civil services exam and a detail about how tedious her journey was, and despite having those difficulties of cracking the exam, how she persisted and how she could crack this coveted exam. And before going into those details, I would just want to have a small interaction session with you and tell you all the outline of how the exam is and everything. So please give me 10 minutes time. So I hope you're all aware of what civil services are. I want this to be an interactive session. The name itself suggests this to be an interactive session, so I want you all to open up. What are civil services? Anybody? I want this to be an interactive session and to frame the nitty-gritties of the policies, right? So they are the ones, the unsung warriors, the unspoken people on why the government is functioning so smoothly. So these are all minute details of the famous bureaucrats. The one that is recently in news, Mr. Kumar, the National Security Advisor, a retired bureaucrat, a retired IPS officer. Okay. So his actions are being often spoken out because of the crisis in international relations and between us and our neighbors. And she is Mrs. Kiran Bedi, the first IPS officer, and she is known for her path-breaking policies that she implemented in. Where did she implement a path-breaking policy? In Tihar Jail, the correctional facility. Prisons are now being called correctional facilities. So she was the one who spearheaded she redone the entire existing policies in Tihar Jail so that the inmates are being corrected and or reformed rather than being punished. Right? So
what can a bureaucrat do or a civil servant do? There is much that can be done beyond your official duties. You can impact many lives. There is an IAS officer who is called Ma in a tribal region. She was expected to just implement policies and look at the administrative part of that particular region. But she has gone beyond her duties and executed what she was not ought to do. That was not mentioned in her official responsibilities. But she went, she befriended the people there, the tribes there. She impacted around 300 tribal families. And that is why they all call her fondly as Ma, and they now also remember her for all the good work that she has done. Have you all come across news about an IAS officer or an IPS officer who is retiring or being transferred and people crying of stopping that transfer? Have you all come across those such news? Yeah, that is how a bureaucrat or a civil servant can impact. Rather than just doing their official duties, they can also impact the people around them by going beyond what is expected of them. They can impact many lives, and you must have all come across instances where there are idols being put up for retired bureaucrats or people who left the service. Have you come across such idols or statues? Yeah, so there are examples of bureaucrats going beyond their duties, and that is how you can also impact your region or your line of work or the people that you might serve in the future. These are just very less number of examples that we could quote here. And this is a classic case of how an IPS officer, and I want to quote here that because of the Official Secrets Act, sir is unable to reveal many details about his career that he has served as the DGP of Jammu and Kashmir anti-militant operations as such. But since the Operation Cocoon is spread in the news and articles about Veerappan and IPS Vijay Kumar, so we know how an IPS officer can impact the anti-social elements and their activities and curtail them. You know what Veerappan has done? He was a big anti-social elements in the region there in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and in those areas, and he was the most sought after during those times. But it was all thanks to this Vijay Kumar IPS, and there are 2 or 3 more IFS and IPS officers who were very helpful and who were prominent in curtailing his activities and shutting down those anti-social or anti-legal operations. So you have many ample opportunities once you step into the services also. Do you all know that the government sends you abroad for mid-career training? Are you all aware? Sir is the example that he has gone abroad. I think London University, sir, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, he has gone to London University to pursue mid-career training activities and learn something more. And people have gone to Stanford, Harvard on all paid expenses. So once you crack this exam, it is not that you only do your duties and come back. You can also go abroad, upgrade and train and get the benefit of world-class education also. And believe me, as sir conveyed it to us earlier, that there are annual reviews also, and there are mandatory training programs also that you ought to take up while working as a civil servant. So they have many ample opportunities also once you become a civil servant. Okay? And how many of you are well aware of what the exam pattern is? Please raise your hands. So, for the sake of catering to people who don't know what the civil services exam is, I'll just take 2 minutes to focus on what the exam pattern is. So you might all be aware that there are 3 stages in the exam: the prelims, mains and the interview, right? And in prelims there are 2 papers. First is the general studies paper 1 and the second is general studies paper 2, or called the civil services aptitude test. Second paper is qualifying in nature. That means you will need to score 1/3 marks. Anything above 1/3 is immaterial, but your first paper will be evaluated only if you score more than 1/3 in the second paper. That is what qualifying in nature means. Okay, and the first paper consists of all the general studies components like history, geography, polity, economy, current affairs, science and technology, and every other concept. That is prelims. It is objective in nature. 200 marks each paper. Okay, and once you clear prelims, you will be writing the mains exam. And mains exam consists of how many papers? How many? 9. There are 2 qualifying papers, which are languages. English language is mandatory, and the other language paper is any regional language of your choice, hopefully Telugu for most of you. And these are qualifying in nature for 300 marks. You'll need to score more than 1/3. Anything above 1/3 is immaterial. It will be not counted in your final scores. And the other 7 papers are 2 from optional subject. I hope you are all aware of what optional subjects are. You need to choose a subject from the list of subjects given by the UPSC, and from that subject you will get 2 papers. Okay, so out of the 7, 2 are from optional subject, and the other 5 are essay and 4 general studies. And in 4 general studies, there is one paper called ethics, integrity and aptitude. It is not just theory, they test your ethical aptitude also. They give you case studies and evaluate on how one would behave in a particular setting. Okay, so after you clear mains, you'll be called up for the personality test or the interview round. And once you clear the interview, your name will appear in the merit list. If not, you should start from prelims again. Okay, so that is how the exam is conducted. And this is called the most tough exam in India because it is spread throughout an entire calendar or academic year. The exam dates are spread across an academic year, and once you don't clear, you are expected to give the prelims again within a short span of 1 to 2 months. So that is how tough you should be, and it actually tests your dedication and your conviction. Apart from the knowledge, the width and depth of your knowledge, it tests your perseverance on why one shouldn't give up despite the failures. That is what this exam tests, because this exam is just a preview of what's coming ahead after you become a civil servant. I think both of them can vouch for the statement. This exam is just a preview of what's ahead. Okay? The obstacles, the difficulties that one would face after becoming a civil servant. So what does Excel Civils Academy do different from all the other coaching institutes? So we teach for around nothing less than 1,000 hours. Why do we do so? Because we understand every student is different. So we cater to each and every one of them. At the risk of being lengthy, we ensure that every student understands the concepts. I know it is quite lengthy. 1,000 hours is not being taught anywhere else. I can proudly vouch for that. But at the risk of being labeled lengthy and long time spanning, yes, we do cater to each and every student, because not all students are similar. And we do ensure that we give them the notes also required and also the printed study material. You ought to buy some standard textbooks, that is up to you. We leave it to each and every one of your individual decision. But yes, we do give printed study material, and we deliver lectures for around 1,000 hours, which includes ethics and CSAT also. So pretty much the entire syllabus is covered, and you need not go anywhere else for general studies. And when it comes to the optional subjects, we do deal with 3 subjects in particular: public administration, anthropology and sociology. We are planning to launch these modules this year. Public administration we are planning to launch in the month of May, hopefully, and anthropology and sociology in the months of October or November. Okay, that is what we do at Excel, and you must have all seen the library facility also. And nowhere in Hyderabad, or for that matter in India, has any academy has that very good ambience, infrastructure and the books that are available in the library, and very peaceful environment. Can you all believe that we are located in the very middle of the city and there is such peace and calm environment around to study? Yeah, so that is what we are very proud of. And apart from that, we are very proud of our faculty. Despite being far away from the market, they come here, they put in those efforts and come here every day to take lectures. And if you ask the faculty also, they'll tell that they put in extra efforts here because they also believe we are doing something good for the students when compared to the other academies. We are here to help each and every student. We take care if they are not feeling well. We take care, we ask them if they have fallen ill, on whether they have recuperated or not. We as a family have taken care and would also take care of our future students also. I'm very proud of it. Believe me, I have been there, been in your place. I told you earlier also, I have been in your place earlier, way back in 2011-12. I know what academies do. And now we treat each and every student as our family. We take care of them, be it studies or otherwise. And I'm very proud of it. So what we do, how the teaching structure is planned at Excel, we conduct classes for 6 days a week. We ask the students to be here at 9 o'clock in the morning and leave at 6 or 6:30 in the evening. But we do not conduct classes for such long duration. What happens is the students come here at 9 in the morning, they sit in the library and read. And if a class is being conducted, they listen to the classes. And if a class is not being conducted, they sit in the library and revise. And weekly tests are conducted on every Saturday. Okay, for the syllabus that has been covered till that date, both prelims and mains. And once a module is done, we conduct the full-length module tests also. Like if a polity is done, then we conduct full-length polity tests also. So we are up to date on revising simultaneously. Okay, so at the completion of the year, when the entire syllabus is done, I hope you will be well versed to write the full-length practice tests also. But we ask students to give 2 years, not 1 year. To be fully prepared to crack the exam, I think you will need 2 years if you are a novice. Okay, so you haven't started preparing and you enroll here, we ask them to give us 2 years so that you are fully prepared and are able to crack the exam in the first attempt. That is what we do differently at Excel. So these are all the faculty who teach the subjects at Excel, and you might have come across these faces also at Ashok Nagar. And you might ask me as to what difference does it make? I could always enroll at that place. But I say the faculty, the same faculty who teach at Ashok Nagar teach very differently at Excel, because they align with our motto of NTR Memorial Trust and also Excel Civils Academy of giving back to the students more than what is required and more than what is expected. They put in extra efforts, stay longer if needed. You can all have a look at the faculty. They're all have been in the industry for the past 10 or so, or more than 10 years also. And most of them have appeared for the entire process of the UPSC Civil Services exam. Vijay Kumar sir, who's taking up geography module, has appeared for the interview also. Yeah, so this is all about our faculty, and some of our faculty have cracked the Group 1 exams also. And my colleague who was here earlier, Ms. Akshita Chitla, she is now the Municipal Commissioner in the Government of Telangana. And there is one more, Satish sir, who has cracked the Group 1 exam and is now working in the Excise Department in Government of Telangana. So we have many rankers who have worked as faculty also. So these are all the photos of our rankers, and there is Ms. Pavithra Mutyap's photo also. She has been our torchbearer for quite a while, for quite some time. And now we have 23 rankers who have taken up personal mentoring from sir and also taken up the interview guidance program from us. Not just interview guidance program, they have taken up personal mentoring from sir. You don't get enough chances of interacting with a retired bureaucrat that easily, believe me. There are many senior people here, I think 1 or 2 who must have scouted for interactions in Ashok Nagar. Believe me, you cannot interact with a retired bureaucrat that easily. But here at Excel Civils Academy, sir is here available round the clock to guide students on how to crack the exam, how to mold yourself, and how to approach the interview panel for that matter, because that is the only stage where they are evaluating your personality, not your knowledge. Knowledge comes secondary, and I think Pavithra can tell more about how the interview panel evaluates you. Do they evaluate your knowledge or your personality, as the name suggests? So a retired bureaucrat would be most helpful on telling you how to behave in front of the panel. Not put up a facade, but yes, how you could mold your character. Okay? So UPSC, the coaching is not just one subject. It's a complete understanding of society, governance, and the world. And after this journey, it is secondary that you crack. The first and important aim is to crack the civil services exam. But at the end of it, you will be a changed individual. You will be intelligent, you will be outspoken, you will know what is what and who is doing what, and the policies of the government and the functioning of the society and everything. You will be an enlightened individual. That is the final goal of this entire journey. So I am quite happy that you all have turned up today, and congratulate you once again on turning up and taking that first step towards becoming a successful aspirant and cracking the exam and becoming a civil servant. And now I invite Ms. Pavithra Mutyap to please give her opinion or shed light on what all she has done to become a civil servant and probably answer some of your doubts. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Rajendra Kumar sir. Firstly, I feel really happy to be here because it's like that the thing they say, life comes a full circle. I was in the very same building taking guidance from sir few years ago, and now that I'm here again after cracking the exam to share a piece of my mind with somebody who's starting their journey, I feel really privileged and happy to be here. So thank you, sir, for having me here and also for the support you have always been extending. So I think regarding the exam, the journey, ma'am has already given some thrown light on it, and you are given enough inputs on how you prepare every day in a very structured form in the institute. So what I will do probably is just share my experience or my journey, because as somebody who's been through the process, maybe it will throw some light or give you some leads on how you can go about in your journey. Because I can so much relate seeing each one of you all in each of your faces, because I was a person who was I would question myself thinking if, I am good enough or not for this exam. So I would look forward to somebody telling me their journey. How did they crack this exam? What did they do? Will I be able to do something like this? So that's why maybe I will just share my journey, so that if somebody like that is here who is self-doubting themselves, realize that it is a normalized thing, it's a part of the journey, but never have that question in your mind whether you are in the right place, are you giving enough? Never question yourself. So firstly, I'll probably share a little bit about myself. I am basically from Hyderabad. I did my schooling here. Then did my graduation in computer science engineering from IIT Hyderabad. Then went to do my post-graduation from IIM Bangalore. And towards the final, just before passing out from my college, is when I started the journey of UPSC preparation. I still remember the first book I purchased for starting the preparation. It was Lakshmikant's Polity. Indian Polity, the first book that I purchased. I ordered it on Amazon. Just wanted to see what it feels like, because I was still in college. I was unsure what I am going to start with. One thing I did not know at that time was the fact that this is not going to be a glamorous journey. It was going to be long. It was going to be sometimes maybe difficult. That is something I did not know. All I thought is, I'll just order some books. I'll see, maybe I can do it in a year or 1.5. Ma'am, in fact, has given a more generous timeline. She said, give me 2 years and you will get prepared. But I thought should be able to do it in like 1.5 years. It shouldn't take longer. But trust me, it took me 4 years to crack the exam. And some people still say that is fine. That is like average or around that phase. You shouldn't be getting tired with that timeline. So, and then when I started preparation, obviously I took a formalized coaching. I was taking classes, making notes, doing all of that. And after 4 years, I cracked the exam, then got into the Indian Revenue Service in income tax in the year 2022. And after that, I was training for like almost 2 years. Then I have joined the field in 24. I was in jurisdictional assessment for 1 year, and right now I'm posted in the investigation wing in Hyderabad in the income tax department. So that is a brief about my background and what I am doing. now I'll probably, as somebody who is just starting their journey, I will tell you just a few things on what you should keep in mind. Something that I already started with. First, there is one line that was running in my head somewhere through my journey. That one topper I heard in a topper talk. So she said, UPSC preparation is not a sprint, it's a marathon. The way you prepare for a sprint and a marathon is very difficult. A sprint is, let's say, a 100-meter race. You give your best in that short span and you try to be the fastest and win the race. But UPSC preparation is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It is a very long journey and you need to keep your energy at a consistent pace for a very long time. If you try to run too fast in the beginning, trust me, you will have a burnout. You will not be able to finish the marathon. At the same time, you cannot give up because it's a long journey. You have to push yourself every single day to complete the journey. So this is something that emphasizes the importance of consistency in preparation. You must realize that this self-doubt or this question may come up frequently, thinking, am I good enough or not? But don't let that overpower you. It is very normal, very, that is probably a sign that you're a good aspirant, that you are questioning yourself every day whether what you're doing is right or wrong. But believe in consistency. Every single day, push yourself. You may not want to show up in the morning for a class, but you have to come. Every day, you will have to revise the same syllabus. So that way, it is extremely essential that we do not give up at any point in this journey. And the reason I'm trying to reiterate this is because you're right at the beginning of, the journey. So keeping this in mind will give you that kind of a mental mindset that, yes, I am here for, a long journey and I can take it up. That is the most important thing. The first thing that I want to cover, this is the most important thing that I felt is for any aspirant. And apart from that, going forward, during your, regarding your exam, I'm sure you get it. Ma'am has already given a brief, you have an idea. So I will not stress upon what the exam pattern is like. You know better and your, faculty and mentors tell you more about it. What I think we can do is, if it is we can make it an interactive session. You can ask me questions, because that way it will be more, directed towards your queries than me giving you a monologue. That is what ma'am also said initially. So we'll keep it that way. You can ask me questions, whatever is popping in your mind. Just remember that I was also an aspirant like you, and I still consider myself a student in life. So you just relate anything you have, just ask me and I will start, answering those questions. I think that way we can have a more interactive session. So.
And I request you to please be seated so that the students could ask the doubts and you could, along with the director. She would answer. Yes, sir, she would. No. We would require your expert input also for that matter. So students, and I want to stress out a point here. The background of Pavithra, she was very polite and humble and has not stressed enough on the background that she was before becoming a civil servant. She was not just preparing for the exam. She was doing a full-time job in Capgemini. She was earning, I think, 3 lakhs per month. And despite earning a handful and decent amount of money, she quit that lucrative job and stepped into the civil services. And probably what motivated her to do so is what I expect you to ask her. So, should that be your question, the first question? Yes, please answer.
Thank you, ma'am, for the first question. Actually, after my post-graduation, the first year I was not working. I was just preparing solely for the exam, focused on classes, etc. And that is when, this pressure caught up. I saw my batchmates, they started working. Some of them after 1 year got their first promotion. So I had this thing they say typically called FOMO, fear of missing out. So that is when I also sat for placements in my campus a year later. That's an opportunity my college provided, that even after passing out, 1 year after passing out, you could go back, sit for placements. And I started working with Capgemini. So I started at a manager level, and then after about 2 years, I got promoted as a senior manager. At the time of interview, I was drawing a hefty salary, like ma'am has mentioned. So this was also a question I remember sir had pressed upon during the mock interview. He asked me why, what is the reason that you want to switch from such a job towards the civil services? Do you think the civil services is as glamorous that you want to give up such a heavily paying job? I think maybe now I can quote an example. I was telling sir just before coming in also. So I was into this corporate sector for about 2.5 years before I got selected. And also during my undergrad, I was interning. I was interning with one of the leading MNC here in Hyderabad, Deloitte. I'll just share my experience from there to, give you an example. When I was working there as an intern, I was really intimidated by the size of Deloitte, the way it functions, the people. You see all these high-flying corporate honchos doing, all high-level finance stuff, consulting, all of this. And I was just an intern there. And still I felt like, okay, I'm doing something, big scale. This is a big corporate company. The size is intimidating. There are thousands of people only in the city of Hyderabad working for Deloitte. There are offices all over India. So let me tell you, because now I'm on the other side. In my first year of working on field, as I mentioned, I was in a role called jurisdictional assessment of tax. So in that particular year, the whole company of Deloitte was assessed with me. So on my own table, I had the entire finances of this big company that I was intimidated with looking at, and I was only doing a small role, but that is the scale of civil services that, the scope of work that you get to do. No wonder you're being paid very heavy. You are, I never deny that I did not have a job satisfaction in my corporate career. It was really a good career. But I think you look at civil services through a totally different lens, and the kind of job satisfaction or the scale that you work, it is, I think, that gives you an immense amount of satisfaction and a fulfilling career that you would want to do. Ultimately, we work for, around 30-35 years of our life. What would you choose to do in that 30 or 35 years? I think that is what pushed me to move towards civil services than, picking up any other job, ma'am. Please.
So, hello, Ms. Pavithra, this is Varun. I have a question, you did a typical 9 to 6 job, right? The classes and the scheduling will clash. How did you manage to prepare?
Yes, I think that is why I took 4 years. But even otherwise, so what I would do is, that is how now I would come to the emphasis or importance of having a timetable or scheduling your day. Remember, it is very important for you to schedule your day, your month, and your year. Okay, you have 1 year to prelims next year. That is how I would plan. That I have prelims in June 2027, let's assume. So now I want to see what I want to cover in the next 1 year. Okay, I have to cover polity, I have to cover history, I have to cover so many other subjects. So I make a bucket of all the different categories that I want to do. And then I will also make a timeline or a timetable of what I want to cover in the month. Okay, for the month, I know in polity, I want to do so many chapters. In culture, art and culture, I want to cover this. And once I do that, I start slotting my day. So when you're working full time, it is it is challenging. I found it challenging to cover both preparation and my work. So it was a full 9-hour work day, but it was only 5 days a week. So my weekends were fully for myself. So I would have like extra time during the weekends for preparation. Whereas during the rest of the week, from Monday to Friday, I would start studying after 7:30. So 7:30 to 9, I had one slot in the evenings, and post dinner, I would have a slightly longer slot. Let's say after 10:30, I was a late, if you can call me a night owl. I know it's not healthy, but I would stay up pretty late till around, almost 1 o'clock or so. Just finish up whatever I had planned for that particular day. And in the morning, just 1 hour before I start work, I would try to read the newspaper, get all my, newspaper is a ritual. I'm sure you're also aware. I would call this something called TINA. I've said this earlier also. TINA is something, there is no alternative. TINA, that is what it stands for. There is...
TINA factor.
Yes, sir. So there is no alternative to your newspaper. And that is something I realized in my initial year. I would be sometimes very lazy, thinking let me cover up the, the compilation that comes at the end of the month or the end of the year, let me do that. But you can't. So newspaper is part of your ritual, so I couldn't skip it. So in your packed schedule in the day, always look for something which it is mandatory. You can't, if you skip your newspaper for one day, the next day you have to read 2 newspapers. So that is more difficult. So I will make sure that in the morning before I start my work, I finish my newspaper. And if I have, once my work day is done, the schedule is over, I would take a very short break and then again start, studying my static syllabus or my optional. And towards the end of the day, if I have to give a very small test, I would try to do that. So just try to pick time from your, the window that you have to finish your task. And when you have a bandwidth, like weekends, the whole day was for myself. So I would spend more time back then. Thankfully, I was supported by my family. I used to stay at home, my mom, dad, sister. So I would not have to worry about the other things like, cleaning up my room or looking after the other essential things. So that was also a benefit. So that's how I typically managed the day, working and preparing, Varun.
Thank you. Also one more question.
Yeah, please.
If you suggest, if I'm supposed to choose between doing a job and not doing a job, without any pressure from comparing to others, what would you suggest?
Okay, so you've given me a very black and white question. So if in black and white, I would recommend, prefer, have more time at your hand. So work, you can prepare all day instead of working. But that comes with a caveat. I'll tell you what happened. The first prelims that I gave, I did not clear it. So for me, somebody who had cleared competitive exams earlier in the first go, it was a shocker. I could not digest the fact that I did not clear prelims. I was like, how is it possible? I have given it my best. I have studied so hard. How can I not clear prelims? So there was that rising tension in my head whether I was making the right choices. I know probably I was in a haste. 1 year is too early to make a decision. But I felt there was some sort of, that factor that what am I doing in life? Am I doing the right thing or not? The year when I actually cleared prelims is when I started working. I still remember those, when I was writing the prelims exam, I still had at the back of my mind, there were a few tricky questions and it was a battle in my head as to, I couldn't pick whether it's B or C and why am I not? I was more angry that I didn't study enough that I'm not able to decide between B and C. I felt guilty that I didn't put in time. So one thing came into my mind. I was like, it's fine. If I don't clear this exam, I already have a job. I'm doing something with my career. It's not like I have to go back and, look like I've not done anything in my life despite putting this effort. So that gave me a lot of mental peace. And I think it's a very personal choice. Not everybody may have this kind of a struggle in their mind. But for me, I had it. I couldn't, the fact that I was already working, I had a stable career, gave me a lot of mental peace. It was always felt to me like if I clear this exam, good. Or I would put it this way, if I clear this exam, great. If not, I'm good. I don't have any struggle, or I don't have any, not that there's a struggle if you're not working, but I was very much settled in my head. So I think that helped me prepare better, because that calmness of mind is very important. I have seen some of my friends, my batchmates from IIT, who were preparing for the exam throughout. Neither did they do masters, neither did they work. They took a couple of years longer than me. So if I compare with them, I think they were more hardworking. They were more hardworking than I was, because I didn't put in that much amount of time. I could have studied 9 to 6, 9-hour window I would have had if I was not working. They had it, but still it took longer. Because I think when you know that you have a constraint on time, personally, my scheduling tried to be sharper. Everything went on cost versus benefit analysis. I look at Post-Independent India, it's such a fat book, one of the books in the market. I would always evaluate how many questions are going to come in prelims on Post-Independent India, how many questions are going to come in mains on Post-Independent India, not many, so it's not worth my time. Let me look at a concise material of 5 or 6 pages, I'm done with it. Whereas if I had the entire day at myself, I would have thought, let me read this book, I will enrich myself in this particular topic, so why not? I think working gave me that kind of a mindset. I started becoming very, very, greedy with respect to time. I was like, I can't afford to read this book, because if I do it, I'll miss out on covering something else. So it brought me both mental peace, and I think it made my scheduling and my preparation sharper. So those were 2 benefits I had by working. But of course, if I don't work, you have the entire day at your own disposal. That comes as a different benefit. So it's like a grey answer. I can't give you one sharply.
Understood. Thank you.
And to put in a surprising fact here, sir also was simultaneously working while preparing. So I want his expert opinion also on this particular topic. Sir.
Well, first of all, that's me. You must be wondering why this fellow is having a big mustache and he's somebody else, and maybe you must be nursing it out whether I'm an imposter, right? So it's me only. Having said that, this is the most uncertain examination. You must know that. There are no shortcuts to success. So the success rate is 0.01. So having said that, material, your practice, so everything has to be timed. In my case, she has taken 4 years, I've taken 5 years. Even today, if you see the statistics, more than 50% of the successful candidates have some sort of working background. They've been working because, see, you sit at home for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you don't succeed. What next? So there are a large number of cases where, of course, some of them had the luxury of sitting at home with the backup, parents' backup. They succeed or they may not succeed. But I would rather suggest you need to put in that extra hard work. You need to have that in you, because this service, even after getting into service, you'll be putting in much, much more hard work. It is not one exam, one time, after that it's all hunky-dory, won't fit in. Once you get into service, you're always under scanner, you're always being pressured to deliver more and more and more every time. Throughout your career, you will be working because you are in a system which Shanmugh said, It is the service which is permanent, the institutional memory, the civil services, more than 150-year-old collective memory is there. So you need to carry forward. I'm sure she must be reading many files, much more than what she has read in the last 4 years for the preparation. Same thing with me. I finished my PG in 79 and I was working. I picked up a job as a lecturer, traveling every day, 30 kilometers. Took my first attempt. I cleared the prelims. The system was the same. It was changed during my time. By 84, by 79, the system was changed as a part of Tariq Commission recommendations. The three-phase, the prelims, mains, and the interview. The only difference is, during your time, they have introduced ethics, and you have only one paper. During our time, we didn't have separate ethics. It was part of your, subject only, GS, General Studies. Same prelims. In prelims, we used to have an optional. Paper 1 used to be General Studies, and paper 2 is the optional part. And similarly, in mains, we used to have 2 optionals. You have one optional plus an English essay paper. So the system was more or less the same till 2013. So system hasn't undergone much change. Even they don't want any, the bright students or the super intellectuals or encyclopedias. Like Pavithra said, quite a few of our classmates, of our friends, they took 2 years gap, 3 years gap, studied, but I'm sure they must not have made it. I was not an extraordinarily brilliant. There are a large number of very intelligent students in my class, be it in school, be it in my college, or in the university, or during preparation, I've seen them. But then I succeeded because I persisted, I didn't give up. I refused to accept any defeat. I started pushing myself. And even in service, I pushed myself. There are just 800 districts, 28 states, right? 8 union territories, 800 districts. Now, if you're an IAS officer and IPS officer, everybody has seen only the district collector or the district SP. That's all you all know about it. Or in the state, at the top level, you would have heard of a chief secretary or a DGP or a police commissioner. Or in the government of India, it's a secretary. How 800 collectors, 800 superintendents of police, that's all. So there's a competition there also, even after getting into the service. And as you rise, as you climb, there is only one chief secretary in the entire state, and there is only one director general of police. Rest, what happens to all of them? So as you climb the pyramid, it becomes pyramidical, and people get hived off. So you have to work yourself at every step. Now take her case, she has joined. Now when she starts climbing the ladder, if she has to become the chairman of the CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes, there will be only one post. She has to persist, continue with their efforts, reach on the top. So it is not an easy thing, because you are expected to deliver at every level, at every step. You are going to be a part of the system, guide the destiny of a nation of 1.4 billion population, having 15,000 kilometers of borders with 7 countries, most of them inimical, 2.3 million square kilometers of exclusive economic zone, 7,500 kilometers of coastline, a country marred with, left-wing extremism, cross-border terrorism, right? Then you have the cyber warfare coming up. These days, the entire thing has switched over to cyber war, so the communalism and the radicalization. I mean, multiple problems with thousands of languages, regional differences. So when you have to grapple with a country like this, the country will look at somebody who can take the stress and the pressure, handle it and deliver it. So that is where you're tested now. This examination is only a small test of what is likely to hit you in future. So a country looking at becoming number one, a Vikasit Bharat by 2047, next 21 years, if you get into service, you'll be playing a very vital role in steering the country towards that, what you call as demographic dividend, another 20-25 years. We have this window. You'll be the joint secretaries. You'll be laying down the policies, taking the nation towards that number one. From 4.5 trillion economy, you'll be taking it to the next 30 trillion economy, matching US, or rather perhaps even overtaking it. Not in terms of only of manpower, but in terms of your soft power, which India has now at the moment. So these services provide you an immense opportunity provided. I qualify the word provided. You persist with it, you pursue it with a strategy, doggedly without giving it up. I didn't give up. I lost in my first attempt, but second attempt, I cleared it through and through and through. Though I spent about 5 years, the second attempt I could clear it. And then it was a battle. It continued. And whether you get into the service or not, this exposure, the preparation will give you immense confidence to face anything. Number one. Number two, you aim at the sky. Half of the Group 1 service, successful candidates this time in the APPSC or in the Telangana Public Service Commission, they're the ones who are preparing only for the civil servants. They got into the Group 1, all of them, most of them. And then I would also advise you, keep preparing for appearing for as many competitive exams as possible. As you prepare for this exam, keep taking the tests. That will, train your mind for time management, in preparation, in your answer writing, everything. It will train your brain. So keep appearing for as many tests as possible. Not only the civil services, there are a large number of services elsewhere also in the governments, both as well as the states, as well as the center. So that will give an idea about the nature and type of exams. You're training your mind, training yourself. Like she said, she has been successful. IIT all through, IIM. Suddenly you fail in the prelims of the civil services, it comes as a shock. But she hasn't given up. 4 years of your life is not a short time. I've given 5 years of my life. While preparing, while teaching, I've given 5 years of my life. I would have been happy elsewhere. So that is what you need to do. That's what she has suggested. But let me also tell you, I'll also compliment you. Well begun, half done. On a hot Sunday afternoon, if you guys can think, you would come here, appear for the test, take the test and listen to us so patiently, means yes, there is a zeal, there's a desire in, I don't know whether it is all or in some of you, but yes, if you have the desire, you can do it. The will, the focus. And I'm certain some of you will certainly crack it. But also simultaneously prepare for rejections, be prepared for heartbreaks, but not to give up. You may fall, but learn to stand up. That is when you will succeed. That's all I would like to say, but I'm prepared to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? Sir, I would really request you to give us some details, and that story is very motivational actually, and I think these young impressionable minds would be benefited by that part of your life. I will just quote a small phase of sir's life. He was injured on duty while conducting an anti-terror operation, he was injured with a bullet in his leg and he was on bed rest for I think 1 year. And he was hospitalized, and some of the naysayers were also saying that he might not get back onto the service also. He was bedridden for a year. And he was given the opportunity of changing his cadres also, because he was working in Jammu and Kashmir, and because he was injured on duty, he was given an option of changing his cadre and going back to his home state, but he never opted for that. He went back to Jammu and Kashmir, got up from the bed, went back to Jammu and Kashmir, carried on with his career and has become the DGP. And that is a shining example of what not giving up is. Sir, I just want to ask you, even though I know what it is, but just for the sake of these students, I just want to ask you what motivated you during that phase? Because you were all bedridden, and I know a normal person would be demotivated, but what motivated you to go back and serve in Jammu and Kashmir, even though being given a chance of changing cadres?
Yeah, very tough to answer that, but let me tell you, it is a country which comes first. It's always your country. Once you put on the uniform, nothing else should matter. I have seen a large number of men, my own men in the state of J&K, in Kashmir especially. I served mostly in Kashmir, falling to the bullets. A peak of militancy, I'm talking about late 80s. I have given my shoulder to more number of my men. Rather than attending weddings, birthday parties, I have attended more number of funerals. What drives a constable or a jawan or for that matter any uniformed person to die? Is he paid to die? What motivates an army man, or for that matter the BSF or the CRPF, irrespective of the color of the uniform, to guard the border, spends 9 months, 10 months on the most inhospitable terrain, be it in the Sichuan Glacier or in the terrains of 50, 60 degree temperature Rajasthan deserts. How is he able to guard the border? How is he able to withstand that? Why is he dying for it? Till date, if you see the record, the police, more than 40,000 policemen have laid down their lives in the entire country since 1947. If a Jawan who belongs to that place, Kashmir, if he has died for the nation, he could have ran away. There was no need for him to stand and take the bullets. As an officer who has the security of service, who has all the protection under Constitution, who has all the perks, if I cannot stand up to it, and if I cannot stand by my men who are dying, who else will do it? My running away from the responsibility just because I am injured, but there are thousands of my men who got killed. Their families are there. What message will it send, not only to the people there, to my own service, IPS, to the countrymen who repose so much of faith in me? Constitution means the people, right? It is those people who have put me in that place, in that position to serve them. And if I abdicate my responsibility, who else will do it? What example will I be setting? Then I'm not a worthy son of the soil. So I said, despite the temptations, despite the offers that I can be posted wherever I put my finger on, you have seen the people, whether it was Mr. Doval or with Mr. Vijay Kumar, I worked with all of them. They're all my good friends. I refused. I said, no, I will put on uniform. I will compete equally. People thought I would lose my leg. In fact, the doctor said they have to amputate my leg. If you are a science student, I can tell you my femoral artery was shattered, the femoral bone was shattered, half a dozen surgeries, bone grafting. When I reached the hospital with injuries, the pulse was 0. Completely, I was on ventilator, doctor said he would not survive perhaps, 50-50. Then after survival, they said he may have to amputate the leg. I said nothing doing. Then they thought initially, okay, we'll just attach the leg, maybe perhaps it will be there. He will not be able to walk. But I took up the challenge. I said, no. If I have to survive, I will survive. I will not like to be a vegetable. I would not remain in bed. And then I said, since I have donned the uniform, since I was there, I must become the police chief. I will not give up. Fight equally. I will not take the benefit of, what do you call as incapacitation or what do you call it, Kumar? 50% disability. I refused. I said, no, I will perform equally. I can still perform equally. I used to challenge my men on ground. Subsequently, at every stage, even in the training centers, I used to go interact with my men, challenge them equally in terms of the physical activities. So, when your men are doing that, whereas lowly paid, a constable or a sipai or a jawan is prepared to do so much for the nation, why can't I, being given so many perks and everything, do it? So it is the law of the nation which took me back to that, and my own willpower that look, I'll not give up. I'm going to fight back. I will not let my enemy, Pakistan, to succeed. If they can succeed in scaring me away, what about my men who are fighting there? So I would not let my enemy win. It's a battle. It's a do or die. You need to fight out. And we are there to win. India has to win. India can never lose. I'm not an individual. As an IG, as an IGP, if I'm injured, it is not an individual, it is a nation, right? You symbolize a nation when you say the Indian Police Service or any service from the nation, you represent the country. So the country cannot lose. The country has to succeed. That's what motivated me. And that still motivates me. And that's what all of you also want to do, should do. Irrespective of the service you get in, you should work for your nation, ensure and see that your nation goes forward. Services don't matter whether it's IRS or the IPS or the IAS, there are a large number of services, be it in the center or in the state or the army. The services, the color of uniform should not matter, but it's only your nation, your people who should matter, always. You work for your nation, you work for your people, right? Am I clear? Yes. That's it. Thank you.
Any more questions? So since we are live streaming this event, there is a question from an online participant. The question is, how much freedom versus monitoring is healthy for aspirants? So, from a parent it seems, from a parent who is watching the live stream, the question is how much monitoring is needed, or should we let the aspirant feel free and decide his own course of action? Should the parents be involved?
Leave it to Pavithra. She is better. She will be able to say that.
I think any aspirant who is preparing for this exam is 18 years or older. So they should be, I think, should be tilted towards giving more freedom to the aspirant, because they are capable of judging how much time they need to invest in preparation. What they do need is guidance and anchoring on how much effort or how much time they have to put towards their preparation. But I think constant drive should be from within than from any parent is what I feel. I'm not sure if the parent will be happy with this answer, but personally that is what I feel. I wouldn't be very happy if my mom or dad is checking on me every single day or something. So tilt it slightly towards freedom. Let it be not a micromanagement, but at a macro level, checking whether the aspirant is preparing, how much time are they spending, so that they don't drift away. But that's it, not more than that.
Any tips for physical fitness?
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry I forgot mentioning this. I think I just jumped into having an interactive session, so I did not talk anything about what I had initially thought. I thought it will be less boring and more fun if people ask questions. I actually had quite a few things in my mind, sir, and physical activity is something I wanted to stress upon. See, I had a journey of 4 years, which is not a short time, and it's in the prime of your youth. You don't want to become somebody who is very inactive, or you want to maintain your fitness level. And this is not just for, from a fitness perspective, but for the exam as well. This sharpens your mind. Physical activity also means you're training your mental muscle at some level as well. So you will be mentally more active, mentally more sharp. So at the same time, we will not be able to give too much time for physical activity also. So you cannot promise that 1.5 hours you will spend. That is not possible. So I had a 30-minute schedule every single day mandatory of physical activity, at least 5 to 6 days in a week. So I would make sure I walk. That is, I think, the simplest thing we can do. You don't have to join a gym. You don't have to go on a run. No, if you are able to do it, great. But for me, what was possible in my time schedule was a 30-minute walk. I would also sometimes walk either on my terrace or on the ground floor in my house. But make sure that you are moving and there is some physical activity. In the long run, it will help you in your own health, and during the preparation, in making your mind sharper as well. So it is extremely essential that you take care of yourself during the process, because it is going to be a journey and we have to take care of ourselves. Nobody else will. So yeah, very important, sir. Physical health, please make sure that you take care of it.
I think you do not have any further questions. Is that it? Yes. Yeah. Please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll hand over the mic to them.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, my question to you is that how to make effective newspaper notes, ma'am, for exam?
I think at the beginning of preparation, you're asking the right questions. I would read so I'll tell you what happened with me. Initially, I would read the paper and then assume everything will stay in my mind. That was for the first, let's say first few months. This is what I thought. And then I thought this is not working, and then I started making elaborate notes. Every time I read a newspaper article, I would read the editorials. I would spend more time on editorials. I started making massive notes. Initially, it was good. Maybe this cycle will help you, but what happened after some time was this time constraint that came in for me. I could not give that level of time to make notes, and it was becoming so difficult to compile. Like, I started in a notebook. I would write a topic, because every day the editorial topic, I don't have a control. Whatever comes in the newspaper comes. So how do I go back and revise? There is no structured pattern. There's just one book of notes from newspaper editorials. So then what I did is, and I also think this helped me, I switched over to making online notes. So I used to use this application called OneNote on Microsoft, where I already had structured divisions of the syllabus. Syllabus is something, because you are starting right now, please be thorough with it. That is the mistake I made in my first year. I did not know, not that I did not know, but I never had like a point-to-point mapping of what is in the syllabus. It is extremely important. It is like your Bible, your Ramayana, your Mahabharata, whatever. You need to know what is in syllabus. So I had 4 different categories, and that is for 4 papers of GS. And for every paper, the syllabus that was there. And any article that would come, I would start a new page in that particular section. So I would make brief notes. Let's say there is a topic of India-US relationships. So I would go to paper 2, look at international relations, the bilateral issues topic, and there I would start writing about India-US. So maybe there would be just 3 or 4 points from that article. I will not repeat the whole article into my notes. Any key takeaways? What is the most strategic thing? How is trade between India and US going on? What are the friction points? what are the good things, how is diplomacy between the two countries. Just these few things, I would make notes in that particular page of my article. And maybe 2 months later, another article on India-US relationship comes. Again, there's some more addition regarding this topic. I would pick points from there and add it into my notes. So eventually, before the exam, I think I had rich notes because of this. My original style of making notes into a book, handwritten notes, I did not find it very effective. But this online, this also I read from a topper, I heard from a topper's talk. That is what he said he did. He made this OneNote, used this OneNote application, kept on adding points syllabus wise whenever some article came. And I think that immensely helped me also. So I would recommend the same to you. Just start one, on a OneNote, divide chapter-wise pages. Whenever an editorial topic comes, read the article thoroughly, and some takeaway points for the exam, you can take it and put it in your notes. So by the end of, let's say 1 or 2 years, you will have one rich notes. Nobody can publish that level of, information that you have done by yourself. It's your own research, na? You have read the article, you made some, keeping the exam perspective in mind, you've made something. So that is something I would recommend for newspaper, making notes from the newspaper.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, another question to you is, from which stage of preparation should I start PYQ practicing for board GS, ma'am? PYQ practicing.
Previous year questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will go back to telling you initially what I had thought of. So there are these 3 things that I include in the TINA bucket, okay? There is no alternative bucket. Number 1, like I've already mentioned, is newspaper. Number 2 is the syllabus. Number 3 is previous year questions. And you see all 3 of them tie together. Eventually, over a period of time, you will realize, even if you do one of them without the other, it makes no sense. These 3 things are essential. So, previous year questions, I would say you should start right now. Though I did the mistake of not doing it when I started. I thought I don't have that level of preparation. So even if I start looking at those questions, how is it going to help me? Let me prepare and then start answering these questions. That I'm telling you is not a realistic approach. The syllabus is massive. How much ever you prepare, you still want to prepare more, but that point you will never arrive. Just jump into the pool, okay? There are previous year questions, start looking at them right now. You're doing polity, you're reading about whichever chapter you're reading about. Go back, see the previous year questions, what have come from that. I'll tell you why this is important, because it gives you a structure in your mental mind, what you are supposed to do. You know that this is the syllabus, but what are the kind of things that UPSC is expecting from you? I'll give you a very broad term. It says the Indian Constitution. So does it mean you'll read the bare act? Does it mean you will memorize all the articles in the Constitution? No, that's not going to help any of us in any way. You look at the previous year questions to see what is UPSC expecting from you. So the syllabus, your previous year questions, and you need to have a relevance of what is happening today in the country. You know, the issues that India was going through back in 1980s or 1990 are very different from what India is going through now. Or for that matter, even like 4 years ago when I was preparing, the global scenario is different, now it is different. So how do you interlink? You have to focus on what is happening right now in this period in the world, right? That is why the newspaper comes in. So these 3 things are very important: the newspaper, the syllabus, and the previous year questions. You tie these 3 things together, and that is the fundamental part of how you will prepare. In short, the answer to your question, when will you start looking at previous year questions, is now, immediately. You look at the syllabus, you start seeing the previous year questions, and then after, you feel like you've got a little bit of grip on your subject, you start writing answer writing. Do not delay this process, because trust me, even if you write a bad answer, nobody is going to give you any negative marks, okay? You just see how you are able to think when a question is popped at you based on the information you have. It will train your mind.
Yes.
So after you read a little bit more, you'll write a better answer. That is it. So there is no harm in writing. So let's say you have spent sufficient amount of time, 1 month you spent on something, immediately you start writing. Do not wait that let me finish prelims, then when I have mains I will start the answer writing practice. Don't do that. Nowadays there are immense amount of resources. There are so many websites where every day they pop up a question and they write answers. People also upload their answers. The best answers are displayed. So you can see how a co-aspirant is responding to a particular question, and see how you are, and you will eventually improve. See, this is a long process, right? So my answer in short is now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just let me add to that. You have to read very extensively. Mere answering the previous year questions may not be sufficient. Right? The questions may be the same, the syllabus is the same, they keep on changing the questions, recasting the questions. So you need to understand what the UPSC is looking at. What exactly does the examiner want to test you? So for that, read the entire syllabus plus. Just don't confine to that, it has to be plus. What exactly do you have in you? All of you read only that same Lakshmikant book, right?
Yes.
You all read same Lakshmikant. All of you write the same answers. But if I'm an examiner, I will give more marks to somebody who has written in addition to Lakshmikant, something that plus value addition. So for that, read more. Just don't confine yourself to one particular thing. An extensive reading has to be there. That's what I would like to add. So it has to be, some has to be very intensive, but by and large it has to be very extensive reading.
There are questions pouring in from online audience, sir. So I think we'll take up the last two because of the paucity of time. The last but one question is, how can I score more marks in essay and how to improve my answers? I am very weak in essay. That was the exact question posted online.
Yes, essay, I think it has always been tricky. As long as you're not sure of an approach, essay will seem like directionless, because they give very abstract quotes in the exam and you have to write like a very lengthy essay for it. So what I recommend to do, or I would tell you what my approach was. So I had one broad structure in mind no matter what the topic is. So broadly, we would prepare also on topics like, let's say, on education, on health, or on international relations. There are some broad topics, but for every topic, what do I have? I created one framework. So I had given it an acronym also, SPECLIC. It stands for SEECLIC. So what it stands for? S stands for social. I'll demonstrate this through an example. So let's say the topic is on health. I want to write about health. What does S stand for? What is the social impact? S is, what are the parameters? How is it going to affect the society in general? I would want to write some paragraph on it. But even if I get into this SPECLIC part, let me give the broader framework. The broader framework for essay for me was an intro, body, and a conclusion. An introduction, I will write about the parameters, the health parameters in the country. What is the statistics? What is the out-of-pocket expenditure that in India people are spending on? How is the health infrastructure in the country? In the budget, how much are we spending on health in the country rather than on other areas? Then when I come to the body is when I come to, which was the most difficult part for me. I was always good with introduction. I have few statistics, I will use them. There is so much of out-of-pocket expenditure in India. They are, the doctor to people ratio is so much. You drop statistics, you hook your examiner. They're impressed that you have some inputs. So that way introduction is fairly easier. But what you write in your body, that has to be fairly wrong. Your introduction will barely be 1.5 page or 2 pages. So when it comes to the body, where the massive amount of your information lies, there also create a structure for yourself. I did this thing called SPECLIC, like I just mentioned. It stands for S, write about the social aspect. P, write about the political aspect. E, write about the economic aspect. For instance, how is health going to impact the economics in our country? I used to try to draw some kind of relation. See, a healthy population translates to having more productive outcomes in your country. At a macroeconomic level, your country is more prosperous, or there is more productivity from your people. I would try to bring in that angle. So for each alphabet, try to expand and write content on that matter, and see a cultural aspect. So for me right now, I'm trying to not able to recall how I can relate culture with health, but you can also bring a cultural aspect into the essay on any topic that you have. And L stands for linguistic, I stands for international relations. Now I can easily draw a link with health and international relations. What is the one topic that links? There's medical tourism in India. There are a lot of foreigners who come into India to seek medical services because it's very affordable. So I used to stress on that aspect that, if we build or boost our infrastructure, medical tourism can be a growth option in India. So that way you take one title and try to expand it related to the title of your essay. The social aspect, the economic aspect. Not every single alphabet you will be able to relate. For instance, now I failed to link culture to health. So you can leave it behind, but have one broad framework of based on which you will expand and draw a conclusion. In the conclusion, try to be more optimistic. Give some recommendations on where we need to increase our spending on. Do we increase the infrastructure, or do we provide more medical education facilities? Should we increase the doctors in the country? Should the pay increase? Discuss those kinds of things and end on an optimistic note. So typically this is how I would structure my essay.
That was indeed very helpful, and it sheds light on a broader perspective of how to approach an essay question. Was it not helpful? I think this is an eye-opener. Yeah, so it was an eye-opener to me also, to be very frank. And one last question I think a student wants to ask. Yeah, one last question, please.
Hello, ma'am. I want to ask you a small question. What would you do when you get boring while revising the previous questions or previous chapters? I mean revision, ma'am.
So you mean to ask, what if you are bored, referring to P by Qs?
Revising the chapters, etc. How many times did you revise?
I think being bored is a privilege, okay? Because that means you've learned so much that you're now bored. Revision is so important because, let me tell you, in my first 1 year after preparation, I was also very overconfident that I've read enough. I don't have to, read so much more. I can take the exam. But trust me, revision is what stays. No amount of reading new books will help you as much as revising NCERT 4 times. And because ultimately what has stayed in your memory is what will help you in the exam. And reading anything once, if you have a very short and concise syllabus, I will say this, just one book you read once and you can do it. But UPSC is not like that. The syllabus is so massive. Revision is the key. It is the simple answer or the simple trick to cracking this exam. How much ever you have studied, if you go on, I also did this typical mistakes. I would go to the market, find some good book. I would get tempted. I think they have a good interpretation, better interpretation of what I have read. So let me buy this book, let me read. Never commit such mistakes. Believe in what you have started with. Okay, you can also do a preliminary discussion, discuss with your friends. If you think one particular book is not good, switch to something else. But have one standard source. Stick to it, revise it. Revision is what will differentiate between you and somebody who has, just read multiple books, but it will not sit in your mind in a coherent and crisp manner if you have not revised. So I don't think there's anything to get bored. Even if you're bored, trust me, if you actually got bored, I'm telling you, you're privileged. That is what I think, because I never got bored. Whenever I would revise, I would think that, oh, I missed this the last time. I did not register this aspect in my mind, and then my second revision comes, I get something else. Third revision, it is fixed in my head. Fourth time I do it before my exam because I want to be more confident. So every single revision will add a layer of confidence and information to your mind. So never think that it is a futile attempt to revise. In fact, revision is what will make the difference. Never get bored. Always look at it as a new learning aspect.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So I think this last one, no?
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, as part of all these questions, I would ask one question, sir. So, I feel very proud, sir, after hearing your story, that in an incident occurred in Jammu and Kashmir. Sir, normally a coin has two faces. We all know, head and tail. Today, recently on social media, we had a senior IAS officer told that preparing for UPSC examinations is wasting of time. So, what stated this comment, sir? So many people, so students like me, they are pursuing other countries for abroad countries for software jobs, etc., etc. This statement affected many people, sir. Why? Because means we are villages. I come from a small village, sir. So preparing 3 to 4 years, the parents can earn money, sir, for going abroad countries. So what's your opinion on that statement, sir?
No, I'm aware of that. It's all in the perspective.
Okay, sir.
Initially, I made a statement. This is a very highly uncertain examination. It's a very challenging environment. Out of 10 lakhs, if 10 lakhs apply for it, only about 1,000 make into the service every year, right? So what happens to the rest, 9 lakhs, 99,000, right? However, they get absorbed into other systems, other services. It is not the end of the road. So it is a negative, very pessimistic way of looking at things. As somebody who is already in the service, then I'm sure whoever has made that statement, if he is hearing it, let me say it's a very irresponsible statement he has made. I'm sure let the message go to him. He cannot say such a statement, this is useless, don't waste your time. See, after all, here are the bright youth who would like to get into a system and would like to contribute their might for the nation's development. And on the other hand, somebody making a statement, a very vast sweeping statement, what is this service, why are you wasting your 5 years? I would say it is worth it. At the end of 5 years or 6 years, the people who have done 10 years. I've seen people appearing 10th time, 11th time, not giving it up and yet succeeding. So that statement, I don't take it very seriously. Simultaneously, as a word of caution, I have a backup plan. Yes, since everybody may not succeed, you should have a plan B, right? And I also said keep appearing for various examinations. If not one, you will land up in another one. Irrespective of the service you land in, right? You'll be serving the nation, whether in the IT sector, even if you're in the IT sector, you are exercising that soft power, right? If you see the top head CEOs of all the IT companies all over the world, they're all Indians. So that power you still exercise, not only in terms of the civil services, wherever you go, you get into it, fine. Otherwise, the other chances available, other scope is available. So don't get demoralized by what if.
Sir, and also, so we are, in my village, 3 to 4 people, we are preparing for the UPSC examination, sir. Recently, 2026 results has announced, sir. So there are some criticisms that interview marks are disturbed because the one person he scored good marks in mains, but he scored less marks in interview, personal ability test, sir.
No, you don't have to worry about that. I've been on interview boards.
Okay, sir.
I'm an permanent member of UPSC.
Sir, not only me, sir.
నీకే కాదు ఎవరు కూడా
Yes, sir.
ఇంటర్వ్యూ మార్క్లో వచ్చా ఇతను ఈ ఊరి నుంచి వచ్చాడు, ఇతను ఫలానా కాస్ట్, ఇతను ఫలానా ఏం తెలియదు. నోబడి నోస్ యువర్ రిటర్న్ మార్క్స్ ఇన్ ద ఇంటర్వ్యూ బోర్డ్.
అంటే
ఇన్
sir-
ఫ్యాక్ట్ ది క్యాండిడేట్స్ డాఫ్ ఈస్ గివెన్ ఎట్ ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ బోర్డులో. చెప్పండి
సార్, అంటే సార్ తెలుగులో మాట్లాడుతున్నాను. ఇప్పుడు నాతో పాటు ఒక నలుగురు వస్తా అన్నారు సార్. అంటే నాది ఎంఎస్సీ ఆర్గానిక్ కెమిస్ట్రీ కంప్లీట్ చేశాను సార్ 2025లో. నేను తెలుగు మీడియం సార్ బేసిక్గా. అంటే సోషల్ మీడియాలో జరుగుతుంది తెలిసిందే కదా సార్. వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే మనం ఎంత కష్టపడి వెళ్తున్నాం, రేపు పొద్దున రాస్తాం, రాకపోతే మన పరిస్థితి ఏంటి అంటే, ఇక్కడ ఒక అతనికి 1200 మార్కులు పైన వస్తున్నాయి మెయిన్స్లో పేపర్లలో. పర్సనల్ ఎబిలిటీ టెస్ట్కి వెళ్ళేపాటికి మార్కులు తగ్గుతున్నాయి. మనం రీచ్ అవ్వగలమా? అట్లే అలాంటి వాళ్ళకి మీరు కొద్దిగా గెచ్చి సజెషన్ ఇవ్వండి సార్. అంటే నేను ఇక్కడ దాకా రాగలిగాను సార్. నాతో పాటు ముగ్గురు వస్తానని చెప్పి వాళ్ళు ఇలాగే కొద్దిగా ఇదైపోయి ఫార్మా కంపెనీలో చేస్తున్నారు, అలాగని చేస్తున్నారు సార్. అలాంటి వాళ్ళకి మీలాంటి వాళ్ళకి గట్టి మెసేజ్ ఇస్తే ఇంకా మంచి.
See, let me tell you, written marks are different, and you have how many written marks? 1700 marks.
1750 sir. 1750 sir.
1750 written,
Yes, sir.
and 275 personality test. Now, written vis-a-vis personality, how much? Number one, proportion. Number two, personality test is subjective. However, the 5 board members who are sitting there, each one must have put in about 40-50 years of service. They are the bureaucrats, they are the academicians, they are the scientists coming from various fields. Each one with 40 years, 5 members, minimum 200 years of experience, intellectual, this thing they have. They would assess you. They would not test your memory power. Exams lo mugging gotti, maths chesi, mugging gotti, answer rasi. Interview is overall your personality. How you relate, how you articulate, whether you are guessing, whether you are bluffing, whether you are your original self. Suppose she is asked in the interview, in Tujogam Odilipet enduku vastunnava amma service lo kani. She says, no, I'm coming for the love of the country. I only want to serve. I only want to do this and that. Namadakada. So they know why you are appearing for the civil services. They would look at how genuine you are. I have seen in my own batches, some of them getting 40 marks, 60 marks out of 250 in some of their attempts. The same thing next time after a year or two when they improved this thing, then the same guys also improved their marks, they got up to 200. It changes. It all depends on how you answer at that particular point of time. So written is different, interview part is different. So they test your overall personality. The error I would say is almost zero. There is no scope for error in the personality test. There is moderation subsequently. They would also ensure that there's a proper, standardization even after the entire thing. So nobody is treated unfairly in the interview part. ఇది మనం అనుకుంటాం, అబ్బా మనకేం వస్తుందిలే, మనలాంటి వాళ్ళకి మేము ఊరి నుంచి వచ్చాం, ఏదో బాగా సిటీలో చదువుకున్న వాళ్ళకి ఎక్కువ మార్కులు వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తారు, నా ముఖం చూసి మనకి మార్కులు ఇవ్వరని. You have a choice to answer your interview in your Telugu, in mother tongue also.
Sir, in this year I choose only Telugu.
You can do that also.
Yes, sir.
So there is a level playing field at all levels. So అది మైండ్లో తీసేయండి మీ మైండ్లో ఉంటే. If at all there is anything, any institution which is the fairest, which cannot be challenged, is only the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission. That much I can assure you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And there is an example of Mutyal Raju Revu. ఆయనేమి ఎలిటిస్ట్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ నుంచి వచ్చిన ఆయన కాదు, మీకు తెలుసు కదా, తెలుగులోనే రాశారు. బట్ హీ క్రాక్ ది ఎగ్జామ్ అండ్ ఈజ్ అ షైనింగ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. UPSC judge చేయదు, it doesn't judge you based on your background, right? So I think we'll call it a day for the question and answer session. Please hold on.
She would also respond to that.
I wanted to add something మీరు అడిగిన దానికి. Actually మా బ్యాచ్లో there's majority more from rural background than from urban settings. They're my own batchmates, they studied in their own regional medium and still have cracked through. So please carry zero perspective or zero notion in your mind that there's any bias. These are all negative thoughts trying to pull you out from this process. Never have such thoughts. I have not seen any element of bias at any point, touch wood, thankfully so far. But to give you facts, I don't want to tell you about anything else, just to give you facts. My own batchmates, there are more people from rural background than from any other background. So maybe at least that will give you some perspective.
And one tip I'll give you, finally one tip. ఈ డౌట్ మైండ్లో ఉంది కాబట్టి ఇన్ రిటర్న్లో 1750 ఉన్నాయి. యూ డూ వెల్ ఇన్ రిటర్న్, స్కోర్ ఎ టన్ ఆఫ్ మార్క్స్. యూ మస్ట్ స్కోర్ as many marks as possible in the written part, so that personality test lo, for whatever reason, even if you get lesser marks, you will still end up in the service, top service. Chusan nenu same thing has happened in my batch also. I have almost topped my batch. I mean written lo ఇప్పుడు టాపర్ అయితే రిటర్న్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ వెళ్ళి వచ్చాయో నా రిటర్న్ మార్క్స్ అన్నీ వచ్చాయి ఆ రోజుల్లో. పర్సనాలిటీ టెస్ట్ I got just 50%. Out of 250 I got just 125. So it happens, it doesn't matter. Maybe because I argued, maybe because I did not put on a suit or coat. I also, like village boy, I also went at a summer, I coat out eskaltadu. And I just went in my trouser, a decent trouser and shirt. I didn't put on my tie or even a coat because I didn't have any those days. To be very frank, so I said, no, your personality test, nobody is going to see you how you are suited. But your dressing does matter, ultimately. I was telling an example to her. Yesterday while traveling from Vijayawada in flight, sat in my 20C. Achha, this is being live, enduku all that. But the minute I got in, I sat down. After 10 minutes, the air hostess came and said, Mr. K. I said, yes, as per the list. Sir, here is a water bottle. Without asking, she gave a water bottle. I had the water. Then after some time she said, sir, some tea, coffee. In an 80-hour small flight, they don't give you tea, coffee, but she was offering me tea, coffee. I said, okay, thank you, give me, very kind of you, very generous. I had it. Then she said, after some time, sir, I have conveyed to the captain that you are on board. She doesn't even know who I am. I said, very kind of you, thank you. By the time I got down and got into the bus and came to the terminal, I found a whole lot of the CISF guys waiting to receive me. I just started moving, said, sir, Rajendra sir. I mean, it happens, you're dressing. Maybe I had a mood normally, nobody would have noticed. But if you dress up properly, a proper, this thing, maybe people will take notice of it. Maybe you may get a couple of marks more. Maybe your grooming, your haircut, your shaving, the way you put on your shoes. So these things do certainly matter. Your grooming, your dressing, everything does matter. That doesn't mean that నువ్వు తెలుగులో ఊరిని చెల్లావు, తెలుగులో మాట్లాడావు అంటే నీకు మార్క్స్ ఇవ్వరని కాదు, మార్క్స్ వస్తాయి. To be on safe side, try to get more marks in the written part. So one free advice, anybody preparing for civil services, you, short of saying throw your mobile phone in Durgam Cheru or in whichever Cheru it is, get out of all this social media. Don't use any social media. Don't read anything negative news. Be very, very positive and tell yourself you are going to clear the exam. Dream big. But don't take negative examples. వాడికి రాలేదు కాబట్టి నాకు రాదని చెప్పి, వాడికి రాలేదు అంటే maybe there is some other reason, but you believe in yourself that you are going to make it. అంతే కదా. And one more thing, I must also congratulate Pavithra. Pavithra, she was recently married, just February, and she is married to an IPS officer. from Kerala cadre, who is posted as SP in Trivandrum, and she's very kind enough. When I called her, she said, I'm in Trivandrum. I said, when I requested, she said yes. She has come especially to meet all of you. Right? So,
And in continuation to that, as a small token of gratitude, we would want our director sir to please felicitate Ms. Pavithra. Shawl.
please get out of your social media habit, your WhatsApp, your friends, your groups. Right? I know, I must thank you. I must thank you for that.
So, I want you all to please give a big round of applause to our guest here, who has taken up time despite her busy schedule and spent her valuable time addressing your doubts and queries. And I hope this session was helpful. I want you all to please reply. Thank you so much, and I would all request to please gather for lunch, and if you have any more doubts, we are all available here. We can take it offline after the lunch also. So I request all of you to please have the lunch. Thank you all for coming, and all the best. Irrespective of you enroll in Excel or not, our best wishes are always with you, and we all hope to see you as future bureaucrats. All the best. Thank you, Pavithra ma'am, and thank you, sir, for this very interactive and enlightening session. And we'll announce the results of this test and the process forward within the next 2 or 3 days, and we'll be in touch with you. Thank you.